Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into a really unsettling story, a case out of South Korea from 2023 that frankly sent chills down everyone's spines. It all kicks off in Busan, super early morning, pre-dawn hours. There's this taxi driver just doing his job, and a ride he gives turns into something much darker. And it's his sharp instincts that really blew this whole thing open.
Yeah, this case really forces you to confront some very dark aspects of human psychology. The motivations here are perplexing, to say the least. So our mission today is to really piece together what happened step by step. We'll look at the people involved, their backgrounds, and try to understand the mindset behind such a shocking crime.
We want you to get a sense of not just what occurred, but maybe start to understand how something like this could even happen.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into it. The story really pivots around this taxi driver. We'll call him Mr. Lee. It's maybe 4 a.m., Gurumjang district in Busan. He picks up this young woman, Jong Yoo-jung. She's 23. But right away, Mr. Lee gets this uneasy feeling. Something's off.
Mm-hmm. And it's amazing how quickly he tuned into that. Yoo-jung. She looked much younger, he thought, like a high schooler, which seemed weird for that time. And then there was this big suitcase she had. A heavy one.
Yeah, and she absolutely refused his help getting it into the trunk. Insisted on doing it herself. That's strange, right?
Very. And during the ride, he notices she keeps checking her watch. Like, constantly. As if she's on some kind of strict schedule.
Then she asks him to drive her to this really remote spot, a park, lots of trees, right by the Nakdong River in Yangsan. Pretty secluded. She tells him, wait here, takes the suitcase, disappears into the darkness.
Right. And then she comes back a bit later.
Without the suitcase.
Exactly. Gets back in the cab, tells him to take her home. But there's one more thing Mr. Lee noticed, and it was crucial.
Yes. When she was putting the suitcase in the trunk earlier, he saw a stain. Damp, reddish-brown.
That stain. Combined with everything else, her weird behavior, the suitcase vanishing in that park, it just screamed trouble to Mr. Lee. So after he drops her off, he doesn't just keep going, he actually pulls over.
Good for him.
Yeah. He checks the trunk of his taxi, and immediately this strong, really foul smell hits him.
Oh, wow.
And then he sees it. On the trunk mat, another wet, reddish-brown stain. Looked just like the one he saw in her suitcase. That was his immediate thought. Blood. And he didn't wait, didn't second guess himself. He called 112, South Korea's emergency number, right away.
Incredible. His gut feeling and then acting on it, that quick thinking really set everything in motion.
Absolutely. And the police response was impressively fast. They jumped right on it, started pulling CCTV footage from the areas Mr. Lee mentioned. And sure enough, they find images of Yoo-jung with the suitcase and then later without it.
And because Mr. Lee had the address she gave him.
They found her, pinpointed her location very quickly.
So how fast are we talking?
Jong Yoo-jung was arrested at her home just 3 hours after she got out of Mr. Lee's taxi.
3 hours? That's incredibly quick.
It really was. And that speed was vital. Because inside her place, the police found something horrific. Dismembered human remains in a trash bag.
Oh my God.
They also found the victim's wallet and her ID card. So they knew who it was right away.
Just staggering. So who is Jong Yoo-jung? We need to understand her background, right? What led her to this point?
Exactly. And her story, it's marked by a lot of isolation.
Yeah.
She was 23, hadn't gone to college after high school, and she'd been unemployed for 5 years straight. Tried to get jobs, but apparently couldn't land anything.
5 years is a long time.
It is. She lived with her grandfather. Her parents had split up. Her father remarried, and she felt kind of left behind by them.
That sounds tough. Did this affect her socially?
Profoundly, yes. Even back in high school, she was bullied. Apparently, partly because her family situation wasn't seen as normal. She described herself as a loner. Sat at the back of the class, didn't really have friends. Nobody to even eat lunch with,
That's heartbreaking.
And that isolation didn't really end after graduation. She skipped school reunions, classmates lost touch, just very alone.
Okay, and now we get to a point that seems significant. Her ambitions. She wanted to be a police officer or a civil servant.
Yes, those were her goals. But in South Korea, those jobs, they require pretty strong English skills. Yoo-jung hated English. She said it explicitly. And she kept failing the English exams needed for those careers.
So that created this block, this frustration.
A deep-seated frustration, it seems. And maybe resentment, too. And as we'll see, this English connection seems to fester.
Okay, so this frustration, the isolation, it starts to curdle into something else.
It appears so. The police looked into her online activity leading up to the crime, her search history. It was chilling.
What kind of searches?
Things like how to murder people, how to stab someone to death, and how to dispose of corpses.
Wow. Okay, so this wasn't impulsive.
Not at all. This points to clear premeditation. And it gets worse.
Wow.
For about 1 or 2 months before the murder, she was hitting the library, regularly borrowing books.
Come on.
Criminology, forensic science, detailed accounts of real murders.
She was studying, researching how to do it.
That's exactly what it looks like.
Huh.
She later confessed she'd been planning it for 3 months. Said she researched, read books, even watched true crime shows to prepare.
Just horrifying.
And she even mentioned having an idol, an unnamed serial killer whose methods she studied and admired.
That's deeply disturbing. It shows a completely warped sense of morality.
Absolutely. It suggests someone who wasn't just having dark thoughts, but actively, cultivating this plan.
So how did she put this plan into action? Find a victim?
It started online with a tutor matching app. This was in early May 2023. She created a fake profile, posed as a mother looking for an English tutor for her daughter, who she said was in 9th grade.
Okay, deception from the start.
Yes, and her requirements for the tutor were very, very specific and very strange.
Like what?
The tutor had to be female, had to teach only their own home, and this is key, had to live alone.
Lives alone. Wow, what excuse did she give for that?
She claimed it was so her daughter could concentrate better, which in hindsight is obviously just a weak cover story.
Right. Did she find someone easily?
No, actually. She chatted with over 50 tutors on the app. Couldn't find anyone who met all those exact disturbing criteria.
50 people. She was persistent.
Very. Until May 24th. That's just 2 days before the crime. She finally connects with someone who fits the bill. Teacher Soo-ah, we'll call her.
Soo-ah. And what do we know about her?
She was 26 years old, a graduate student, tutoring English part-time. And tragically, she met all of Yoo-jung's requirements.
So the plan moves forward May 26th. The day of the crime.
Yes, and Yoo-jung goes all in on the deception. She'd actually bought a middle school uniform online.
A school uniform? Why?
To look younger. Remember, Mr. Lee thought she looked like a student. She was quite small, about 144 centimeters, so maybe 4'8". Wearing the uniform made her look like a genuine middle schooler.
That's incredibly manipulative.
It is. So she shows up at Soo-ah's home, dressed like this young student. Soo-ah, suspecting nothing, opens the door.
And then?
Immediately, Yoo-jung pulls out a knife she brought and just attacks her. Frenzied.
How bad was it?
The autopsy. It's hard to even say. The victim, Soo-ah, was stabbed 111 times.
111 times?
Yes. There were defensive wounds on her hands, too. She fought back desperately. It must have been horrific.
Unimaginable. And after the murder,
Yoo-jung's actions stayed chillingly methodical. Inside Soo-ah's home, she dismembered the body.
Oh, God.
And she specifically tried to remove identifying features, like fingerprints.
Yeah.
A clear attempt to make identification harder to cover her tracks.
This is just cold, calculated horror.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Then she realized her clothes were bloody. She needed change to avoid suspicion walking outside.
Did she bring spare clothes?
No. So she took Soo-ah's clothes and wore them.
Were the victim's clothes?
Yes. Then she left Soo-ah's place. This part was caught on CCTV. Went home briefly, bought cleaning supplies, bleach, gloves, then went back to Soo-ah's house with that large suitcase we heard about earlier.
The one Mr. Lee saw.
The same one. She cleaned the crime scene as best she could, packed the dismembered remains into the suitcase. Then, around 2:15 a.m., she leaves Soo-ah's home again, suitcase in tow, and starts walking, looking for a taxi to dispose of the body.
And that's when she flags down Mr. Lee.
Exactly. Which brings us full circle to the start of the story.
It's terrifying how close she might have come if Mr. Lee hadn't been so observant.
It really is. That taxi ride was the unraveling of her whole plan. So when the police arrested her and started questioning her, she lied, obviously.
What did she claim?
Initially, that she didn't know the victim at all, said someone else had hired her just to get rid of the body.
But the police had the CCTV.
Right, and they pushed back. They asked her, okay, if you were just hired to dispose of a body, how did you know the person was dead already?
Good question.
She couldn't answer, just went silent.
So when did the real story come out?
It took about 3 days. Her father and her grandfather got involved, talked to her, urged her to tell the truth.
And did she? Fully.
Not at first. Her next confession was still skewed. She claimed it was an accident. that they got into an argument and she sort of lashed out.
Trying to frame it as unintentional manslaughter, maybe.
Exactly. Unintentional murder carries a much lighter sentence in South Korea, maybe around 5 years. Intentional murder can be life or even the death penalty, theoretically.
But the police weren't buying that accident story.
No way. They pointed straight to the evidence. You brought your own knife, you stabbed her 111 times. How is that an accident? How is that just lashing out?
Right, it makes no sense.
Faced with that, she finally told them the real reason, the horrifying truth.
Which was?
She said, she wanted to kill someone just to know what it felt like.
Just curiosity, morbid curiosity as a motive for murder.
That's what she claimed. And then she added these really bizarre statements. Said the victim wasn't really dead, that Soo-ah had come back and was talking to her.
Okay, that sounds detached from reality.
It prompted the police to send her for a psychiatric evaluation immediately.
So what did that evaluation find? Did it shed any light on her state of mind?
It did. It was a comprehensive assessment. Psychologists, analysts, doctors, they used specific criteria to see if she fit the profile of a psychopath. Now, on the scale they use, an average person might score around 15. A score over 25 is generally considered indicative of psychopathy.
And Jong Yoo-jung scored
28. 28, that's high.
extremely high. To give you some context, there's a notorious South Korean serial killer, Kang Ho-soon. He murdered nearly 10 women, including his own wife and mother-in-law. He scored 27 on the same test.
So she scored higher than him.
Yes. A score like 28 suggests, a profound lack of empathy, manipulativeness, a complete disregard for other people. The experts who evaluated her concluded that if she hadn't been caught so quickly after this first murder, she likely would have become a serial killer. This was seen as potentially just the beginning, an experiment.
An experiment fueled by that morbid curiosity she mentioned.
It seems so. And remember the English connection, her frustration with failing exams.
Experts speculated that choosing an English tutor wasn't random. It might have been tied to that deep resentment. The victim symbolized the thing that thwarted her ambitions.
Wow. A symbolic target for her rage and frustration. That's just
It really adds another layer to the psychological complexity here. And looking back, you see these potential warning signs. Red flags, maybe.
Like what?
Well, just 3 days before the murder, Yoo-jung had this long phone call with her father, 2 hours long.
Okay.
She apparently told him how unhappy she was, how abandoned she felt. And then she said something truly chilling. She told him, "Father, I'm going to do something terrible, and you will suffer after I do it, then I will leave this world."
She actually said that, did he?
It's unclear what he made of it at the time, but in hindsight, it's a massive red flag. And another thing, police found her phone. The only chat messages on it were with her father.
Nobody else.
Nobody. Which just underlines that extreme isolation we talked about. He was seemingly her only connection, and even that wasn't enough to stop this.
The whole case must have been huge news in South Korea.
Oh, absolutely. Massive public attention, experts weighing in, endless discussion. On June 9th, Yoo-jung made a required public appearance wearing a hat, a mask. She mumbled some words of remorse, asked for mercy, said something like, "I must have been crazy."
Did that hold any weight in court?
Well, on June 21st, 2023, she was formally indicted. Murder, concealing the corpse, theft because she took the victim's ID and wallet. The DNA evidence was overwhelming.
Right.
The prosecution pushed for the death penalty, which is actually quite rare for them to seek these days. Her defense team argued for leniency, naturally, citing her mental state, the psychopathy score, those bizarre statements.
And the verdict.
The Busan High Court sentenced her to life imprisonment.
Life. So not the death penalty.
No. The judge really emphasized the planning, how meticulous it was, driven by this cold, twisted desire just to see what killing felt like. That premeditation made it hard to reduce the sentence, even with the mental health arguments.
And life imprisonment in South Korea.
Yeah,
It effectively means life, right? They don't really carry out executions anymore.
that's correct. They technically have the death penalty on the books, but the last execution was back in 1997. So life imprisonment is the harshest practical sentence.
A grim end to a horrific story. Did her family say anything publicly?
Only her grandfather spoke out. He gave this heartbreaking statement, apologizing over and over to Soo-ah's family. He said, "I want to apologize to the victim's family 100 times for what my granddaughter has done. I raised her horribly. That's what I feel now. I'm sorry."
Yeah, that's just devastating for everyone involved. The ripple effects are immense. So, wrapping this up, we've really delved into this deeply disturbing case of Jong Yoo-jung. The level of calculation, the chilling motive, the utter lack of empathy. It's a lot to take in.
It really is. And it leaves you thinking, doesn't it, about the factors involved. Extreme isolation, those deep personal struggles she had, the complete absence of a social safety net. It raises a tough question. How much does that environment contribute to someone developing these kinds of destructive fantasies? And maybe more importantly, how can we as a society get better at spotting these warning signs, these red flags, before they escalate into such irreversible tragedies?
A really heavy question to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today.